Good morning. Uh, Today is a quick one, and if I say something key relating to Bootstrap, what I'm to do basically is, and before that, you know what time is it? 6:45, and it's 9/2019. That's March. We've been doing Bootstrap. That's the program we are currently running with the Dongo Ministry. And one of the things we'll be working on Monday is called Awesome Font. I think it's something like this. Awesome or Font Awesome. Font Awesome. Now, what that basically is, you need something practical to understand that. So watch this. Let's say if I'm to start developing a site, I'll have my folder, maybe I'll call it public. I can call it home. I can call it HTML doc, or whichever name you want to choose to call your folder. Now inside it, we can have different HTML files. We can have CSS, we can have images, we can have JavaScript, so many things, PHP files, so many things. And I've said already, by virtue of how servers are configured by default, it's recommendable to name your landing page, or like the site. When if I say landing page, this is it. If I say google.com, this is what comes. This is the landing page, the home page, the first thing people will see when they visit the site. If I say Ghana web, the one that opens, that is your landing page, or like that's your home page. If I go maybe to the staff section or this menu, this is another place you can get information, but this is not the one I landed when I visited the site. If I say W3 school, W3, or let me say my site. If I open my site W3 school, this is also here. So this boy is delaying a bit. Okay, so my site, when you visit my site, this is what opens the page. This is what you will see. So this page, or here, the first thing you will see, that is the landing page, or that is the home page. That page, by way of how servers are configured, it's advisable to name it index.html. That's if you are dealing with HTML. If it's PHP, then it will be index.php. If it's whichever technology you are using, something like that. So by that convention, let's say I'll name my first file index. I'll name it, and it took this icon because of the default HTML ID, which is bracket. This is bracket. So I don't know whether I should open it with bracket. I'll use let me use this ID, the Visual Studio Code. It's a light ID from Microsoft. It's a light ID from Microsoft, and the reason why I like it is sometimes it adds some of the stupid things you have to spend your time typing. You will see example very soon. Let's say, for example, this is a HTML page. Come on. You are not born a slow boy, fast. Let's do away with this. And then let's do away with this. This is the one we just opened. So we know how to create HTML already. We've gone through that a lot. If you don't know, I have a whole video on that, which is about, I think it's about 6 hours or so. I think it's a bit slow. So let's go. Then we start. You see, this is the intelligent. Look at something. If I type HTML, I press enter. That's all this chaff I had to write, the header, the viewpoint, so many things this I have to write. That's what I call the nonsense. So the ID is able to guess those ones for us. So we are going into the body section straight away. Now here, if I want to, let's say, display image, let's say my contact, so I will say, let's put it in div. Let's put it in div, so we'll have something like this. It should go away. So let me see. Or email, yeah. Email me. I'm just putting it like a normal text. I'm not going to use the mail too. So let's say at outlook.com. So I have this. So now let's display this. So if I open this with let me say this browser. Hey. The earlier video I did about okay, so let me say I have this. Now if I want to put an image here to kind of indicate this is an email, we normally see that if there is an email, you see some kind of like an envelope by it, if the person's Facebook, and then you see let's see if we can have that experience, something like this. This is things like this, right? Things like this. This is Facebook, so there's the F, Twitter, there's this, their logo is there. That's the same thing I put on the footer here. So how do we achieve that? You see, the old crazy way of doing it is to search for image, or let me say logo. my net has swear to shame me. It's slow for my liking. So let me go to images. Literally what you will have to do is to download it and then kind of find a way to push it to it so that it is kind of displayed the way you want. This is PNG, so that we can take away the background, or even right here I can just take a shot of one of them. This is fine. So if you go to desktop, publish, let me see, Facebook is PNG, so you can't wait for it to download. So what I will do is inside this, let's see, let's put image, and then something like, then we have the source. Yeah. Then let's see, the image name is facebook.png, and you see the IDE is able to kind of look through which folder we are working, and it kind of suggests the things we want to use. So this is the source. Other things we can add, this is alternate, the alt, ALT, Facebook logo. So let's see something like this. Image is one of the tags that doesn't require kind of a closing. So in the XHTML version, they will require you to do something like this to close it. But in HTML5, which this one indicates, that version, this closing is not required. This closing is not required. In HTML5, for example, you can have let me say something like let's say if you do list, it's kind of bringing the closing, but that is the old version. The HTML5, you can just be having like list 1, something like this, list 1, list 2, list 3. But you know, HTML closing, they will tell you closing has to get like opening tag has to get a closing tag, something like that. So this, yeah, so like they should have the closing, but in HTML5 you'll be fine if you don't bring them. But that is just by the way. What I'm interested in is this image we are using. Let's look at it here. Okay, so now we have it this way. Okay, now we need an email image. Definitely, if you need Facebook to the same process, we have to go through, you find a Facebook image and then you kind of insert it. So what we will have to do is to size it. You know, it's big, so we'll have to size it small. Let's change this to make sense. Let me say handle, and I'll save something like Jiggy type Ghana, yeah. I think it's one word, so something like this. You're supposed to get to my Facebook page, or like my home, my landing page. So let's get something like this that reflect. Okay, so now let's kind of reduce the image to make sense. So, and to do that, you know, you have to use CSS to do that. I've said earlier on the difference between CSS and HTML. If you will have to, let's say if you are building a house, if HTML is equal to building a house, then CSS is equal to decorating it. So that's it. And this is part of the decoration. Changing the color, changing the position of the house, like stuff like that. So let's see how we can reduce the size. We have the image there, which is the content. That is the HTML. So the HTML is to produce the content. Now you want to reduce it. That has to be done with CSS. You can do it with HTML, but that is the old way. The new way is to something in design called a separation of concern. Like what is for Caesar, give it to Caesar, and what is for Kaiser, give it to Kaiser. That is the same concept. What is meant for, let's say, design, give it to design. What is meant for content, give it to content. Something like that. So let's see, and then there are different ways of doing this CSS. So I can do style, and then I would say height is, let's say, let me say 50 pixels, and then weight is, let's say, let me see 50 pixels. Right. Oh my god, this is this, yeah, so something like this. So we have this is style, yeah. This is it. So we have something like this, and then you separate them with these individual ones. So we have something like this. Yeah, it's still not so I'll say foot left, foot. Okay, this has to stop, and then we float this. Okay, so let's see. That means it is still big, so let's go to 30. 30, and then we will have something like this. Gradually, I'm making sense. So we have this. That's too bad. So let's say 20. 20 should be right, I guess. Yeah. So we have. We can even do away with this. The icon itself, or like the image itself. Yeah. So still, I think we can do away with this and have a nice day. Yeah. So this is how one way you have to achieve just perfect. So let's say if I have email, let's see if we are done with the email, if it's done loading. Yes, the email is done, so we can look at email logo. So let's see this. So let me say this is an email logo too. So I want to put my email there also. Is it also PNG? Yeah, every screen is PNG. So I've achieved this. Now let's put our email also. So we come in the image. Okay, fine. So let's do this. So we'll have something like this. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so we can use CSS to take away the bulletin. I think it's text orientation, and there you go. Then it's non-pattern or text decoration. I think it's decoration. Text decoration, text decoration. It's supposed to look at this nonsense. It's supposed to be for the list. Style text decoration now. Text decoration. What I think. Hey. Let's see what that has for us. List out now. List out. Let me see something. The list, and then here will now be the list. So style them have this so something like this. Okay, so something like that will work. That means we can do away with this bad boy here, and once we bring it here, so this image is supposed to be so in that case you'll have something like this for a second image, and then we'll have like email. I have this email logo, so you'll have something like this. Yeah, and we are getting the same size because these ones are there already, so there is it. And if I need, and then here will be email, so then we can have mobile or like call. I want an image for call also. This. So the whole thing I'm trying to say is this is what we have to go through, like sometimes back, in order to get your things, to get this feel, in order to go like to get this feel. But of course here they are using buttons, but in that concept of getting the logos, this is how you will have to do it. anything you don't understand here, then the best place is to watch the web where stream is. Step by step, I have it there. Everything inside here is explained. But a quick one, this is the styling. This is the L1 is what builds the house, and then this is what decorates it. The HTML is what gives the content, what arranges the content, what presents the content to us, and then the HTML is what styles it. So this is it. And in that video I made it clear this is not the best way to go. It is not the best way to do your CSS. It has to be in the header, which we've done, so we can do something like this. That is style. So we have style, and then I think style LE. We can have something like this. Have to close it, and then inside it we will have something like the image. Is the image we are styling, so the image comes open bracket, we close. Now I will told you I'm done. So first one we will have this, and then that's the height, and this is the width. That is the width. This is the width. So you'll have this, and then we'll have float. We will have float also. So you see what that means is I don't need this here. I don't need this here. And it should still give the same effect. That is it. You know, I changed the word there to email. This one, email. So that is it. Instead of attaching the CSS to each tag, you can bring it this way. So in that case, if I bring a new image, which I'm not getting, let's see if we can hack our way around. Okay, so what we will do is let's use this one to represent WhatsApp. So what we are going to do is, assuming I'm to add a third one, so I'll have another list, then this one will now be WhatsApp, and then a WhatsApp logo or whatever description you want here. And then we will have WhatsApp. And then if you view it here, you have to see a third one. You have to see a third one. So let's say instead of WhatsApp 0224 is 090110. This is what we will have, and the email you will type something like this, and then when you display it, something like this. So this is the pain you have to go through to get things like that, and so many other things. For example, if you look at this one here, you see this let's call it an image. This one, and then Yeah, it could have been something different. I just intentionally use the same thing for all of them, but they could have been different things. So this is a typical example of this one. This is an image you can see there. So that is the whole thing. So there's another way of achieving the same thing. There's another way of achieving the same thing. And you know, before that, we've said even this is still not the best. If you still want to have the same CSS for different pages, then in that case, this is not good for my heart. I think my data is about finishing. So the best, I've said over and over, is to take it totally from here, create a different file, call that file whatever name .css, and then you paste what we cut here. But in this case, we don't need this, we don't need this. And then when you come back here, you reference that file, and then you get link. The relation is style sheet, and then the href is the name of the file, which is whatever.css, and then we close it, and then we should achieve the same thing. The CSS is still working. If you want to know it's not working, you just break this. It's not working. So if you get the name of the file right, you realize it's working. So we've achieved the same thing. And we've seen also the 3 different ways you can use the CSS. Either you use it right with the image here, or you go and put it in the header, so it could affect all images in that particular page, or you take it outside totally into another file, and then you import, and then that will affect every page you add this link to, making use of it. So that is it. Now let's see this thing I wrote. This is what it does. For example, if this image is wrong, you see, whatever description you want to, so you are pointing to an image. Now if the browser can't find that image, or if that image is not available on the server, or is no more, what should be told? Like, what should the browser tell the user? That is the alternative, the alt. So if I do a can't find image, so in that case, you see, it couldn't find this image. This was that because I've spelled it wrongly. If it can find it, fine, it will display the image. If it can't find it, then it will bring that message that you use as alt. That is what the alternative is about. Another importance of this is for screen readers. Sorry to say, like those who can see, they have devices that can read what is displayed for them. So this will help them to know the found image. So instead of cannot find, then like WhatsApp image. So at this, when the screen reader is reading and it gets to this place, now it will read it up loud. Let's see if it's wrong. It's correct. So when the screen reader gets to this place, it will read this, and the person will hear like, okay, I've gotten to her WhatsApp images. That is one other use of this alternative key. That is one. And another use of it is, for example, you realize, let's say for example, I need this, or you type something. If you come to image, the same thing you are searching, you see, you're just seeing the images. This time Google is bringing the results based on images, and how is able to know this image is for call, it's a logo for call, is the alt key you use. That is a third way of this important. Like two, if it can find the image, it will display that message to the user. That is two. Screen readers make use of that alternative you use. And then the third one is you will like search engines use it to display when people search for images. So that is it. Now let's go to why I started the audio the tutorial today, is to replace this concept of these small images you want to use. You won't have to go and download them, put it in your image folder. One thing I've also said, let me practice it here. This is public. I can't get the spelling right. I've said that over and over. This is not how a site is organized, and what's the best way. We know it already. You create different folders. CSS folder, and then you create your HTML folder, which sometimes I call it pages, and then you can create your image folder. If you have JavaScript, you create JavaScript folder. How you call them is entirely up to you. So now all images are supposed to go into image folder. This the CSS will go here, and where did I put the images? You bad boy, come here. So the index will be here, but all other pages, HTML pages, will be inside the HTML. This is the conventional way of structuring it. You can do it better, but starting with this is fine. And what now happen is you realize our site will break. Hey, look, we are supposed to break. Yes, the site is supposed to not to work, and it's for a reason. Now this is what we've said. The image is now in a folder called CSS. So you say CSS/it called image. They are all now in a folder called image. So you begin this with image, and you begin this with image. If it's if let's say inside this is the CSS, if it's inside this there was like footer image, let's say they were inside, so there's a folder called image, and in that folder there's another folder called footer image. Then here there is a folder called image. Inside that there is a folder called footer image. This would have been the path how to do the linking. Footer image. This is how it will have been. So basically that is how it is based on where it is located. You have to keep that path. So we will reverse it to here. Something like this image. So when we just reverse it, so it's straight inside the images folder. So that is it. One other thing we have to change is here. Now this whatever name file is also in a CSS folder. If you check here, you see it's inside this. So what we are going to do is you bring the CSS, so there's a folder before the file, and then hopefully our CSS is now back to its sense. You see, it couldn't find the images, so it's kind of displaying the words we use. So this gives us a clue we are not right with our link. So it's img. There's a folder called img image source. img, the spelling is right. Text the published index. Let me see something. It's not finding the image, so public, and I'm surprised. Oh, the 3. Here's that folder. Let me see. Okay, it's not even finding the CSS. That means okay, let's see this. Control O. Bootstrap, no, not this. Desktop. Publish this. So this is what we have. This is I've deleted the index too. You can't do that. You really need to delete this. The index should remain. Why is the index not finding image source? I know it's not something like this. Yes, I know it's not something like that. This is by the way, so let's, since we've taken everything out, so I have to push this one to this and paste it here. That's not what we are interested in. So we have this. Sometimes when things don't break, you turn out doing stupid things. Yeah. Let's see this. I think I was working on the wrong file. I don't know how it happened, but these are two files. So if you check, or like two folders, if you check, I'm working in the public. This is the folder I'm working in, and inside it there is this. I think there's another one, H. Yes, that one too is there, but I'm working in the C. So if you look at the H, that is where I'm doing the corrections, but I'm actually interested in this. So let's delete this. This is what I'm interested in. So let me close this. Deleted from this file. So I was actually doing wrong thing in a wrong folder, or right thing in a wrong folder. So let me open this. It's interesting. So we are in a folder called image. So image slash, and this is also in a folder called, let's save this and see if I will not be making sense. So what actually happened is I was making correction in the wrong file. That's why it wasn't showing. Not like the steps, everything was right. So the CSS too, it is now in a folder called CSS. So CSS slash. So that is it. So now this is what we have, and we want to find a better way of doing this. Instead of every image we want, you go and download it into a folder, use the image, get it. There's another way of getting it. And the whole thing is, these images have been treated as a font, just normal font we know. Like if you are typing, you can change font. That's what I mean. The writings, this font. So this is how the images are treated. Something like this font. This is how images are treated. So one of those is this font I talk of. The awesome font. The old font, awesome font. My internet is off. My phone is off. That is font awesome. I think I should have it somewhere here. Yeah. I was going to online to download it, but I already have it on my desktop. We've seen how we download CSS and import it into our folder. That's the same way you do with font. If it's CSS, let me see, Bootstrap. When we wanted to use Bootstrap, we came here, and I think it's a distribution. There's this. We needed this, so we copied that one out here, and then we put it in our folder, put it in the CSS, and we can now use the CSS by making reference here, link, relations, style sheets, references, Bootstrap, and then we close it. That is all. We can start to use our CSS, and if you see the effect in this div, you see it has now arranged it in different way, meaning the CSS is taking effect. If we take it out, you see, so that means the CSS is working. This way of importing the same way you will import this font to that are actually images. So let's see. First you download and I normally say in all of my videos, or most of them, my target is from scratch. So if you are an advanced developer watching it, you'll be bored. It's intentional to go step by step without skipping any possible error a beginner can occur. So the videos are raw. Anything I have to fix, I fix it in it. I don't like do it in piece, or take away places I couldn't do, then people will pause the camera, do it, and then they'll come back and continue. No, I've made mine, all the hell I'll go through, I'll display all. that is it. I want to connect the internet so that we can see where to download the awesome font. So the net should be back now. I was told 80% use, but this is not big, so awesome font. Yeah, this is the site. You see, and they're actually icons. Yeah, it's a font and icon toolkit based on CSS and less. We'll get into this if you know what CSS is. Less is if you want to give logic to CSS. That is what this logic is about. So let's want to get is, let's see how we get this into our our project. So you just go to that site. This is it, fontawesome.com. You go start using it for free. So, and then the possible place we can download, soon download here. Is it downloading, or do I have to click something else? Every time you copy already, right? Make sure you don't copy of your that you need to do. Is it downloading, or do I have to click something else? I have to click this again. Okay, I have to click again. You can see I've downloaded it twice. That's why it's in here too. So there's not even need. I'll just cancel it. And now, assuming it's downloaded, then I'll get it this way. There are different versions, and the version currently on the site is the 5.3.1. Whichever version you have, you can use it. It's also possible by the time you watch this video there is a newer version, so don't let these numbers kind of fool you. That is it. Now after downloading, the next thing you just need is to extract it. So if you have WinRAR, fine. If you don't have WinRAR, just double click and then drag it outside. And that is all. You are extracting it. We are going to add it to our projects so that we can use them, just like how we were able to use Bootstrap, the CSS in Bootstrap. This one actually also have a CSS in it, and once you link to the CSS is able to link to all other things. Or like once you follow this format and add it to your project, it will be able to link to whichever icon you want to use, whichever font you want to use, and everything. So after extracting, just name it to anything you like. I'm going to call them awesome font, or like just the font awesome. You could just name it font, but there is a possibility that you may also use font from another company that is not from this one. So just to bring that difference, if someday you have to use another font or like another icons from maybe like from Firefox, that's from Mozilla, or from whichever company that also provide. I think this is no, I can't. I wanted to say it's from Google. Let's see those behind it. Font awesome. That's by the way. So now I've renamed the folder to font. I'm going to put it in my public folder, or maybe I could possibly have another font I'll be working with. So let me create a folder called font, and then I'll put it inside. Remember, I didn't put it in the CSS, I didn't put it in the HTML, I didn't put it in the image, not in the JS. I've created another folder called font, and inside it there is this awesome font. There can be ugly font, there can be Ghana font, there can be Google font, there can be Facebook font. So whichever company's font you are using, that will also come under the big heading of font. So that's the whole idea. It is, you can just how do you call it, let me cut it this way. Yeah, you can just name this one font straight away if you are guaranteed this is the only font you'll be using. If you are guaranteed this is the only font, but if you are not, then it's good to have a folder called font, and then everything. I know my data is finished, don't worry. Undo rename, so that gave this, and then you put it in a folder so that you can put subsequent fonts you'll be working with in that same folder, kind of structuring it. So now let's see. We're going to link it just like we did in the CSS. So this is the font. Inside the font there is a folder called awesome. Inside it there is a folder called CSS. This is what we want to link to. Take note of all.css. That is what we want to link to. And where can we locate it? We will locate in the folder called font. Inside that font there is a folder called font awesome. Inside there is another folder called CSS, and inside it is where we have this. So this is the path. There is a folder called font, then this, then this. So this is how we link it. After getting it, the same link, you will see relation, or like link relation is the same style sheet. We want to link the reference, and then we will now have this. But take note, the distance is back. That's not what we want. We want the forward. You don't want backslash, you want forward slash. So you have to change this one to this one, change this to this, and in this folder this is what we need, and then we close it. And that's all. We've linked to that particular file. Nothing is changing on our site now. This is the CSS we added. This one, it's not this one that is causing it. You can see when you take this one, when you get the link right. So this one is not working yet. If you take it off, nothing is changing. It's still the same. So but this is the link. Now how do we like kind of make sure this is working? So this is CSS. It also comes with classes, just like the Bootstrap came with classes, like the Jumbotron class, like the row class, the column class, the container class, the navdiv class. The same way this one too comes with classes that you just have to use. That is all we have to do. So let's look at possible classes. For example, instead of using this, you use a class on the list. So let's go and look for possible classes we can get. That is the font awesome classes. So see from this possible classes. Polish. Font awesome. Let's read font awesome classes. Like the examples. I need a list of all the classes of font awesome. So let's see the possible classes available that we can make use of. So yes, if you can find Facebook. Okay, so we have this one, Facebook. So what we'll do is copy this. And when we come here, we paste this. It's not supposed to work. Yes, I know. It has to be font awesome. The other way. Yeah, this is not there. Font awesome. I know my data is finished. Let's see this one. Okay, so Facebook. Why is this one not working? Why? Let's see if a home. So if you want an icon of a camera, let me see this one. Okay, the camera is making. This is I don't know why the home didn't work. Now what did I do first? It didn't work. Okay, thank God it's working. You can't complain. So if you want like a list that has check in it, so we do this. Yeah, so the check is there. I hope the concept is clear. The whole thing is we were using images but now all those images have been packaged for us as icons that we can just import into our programs. And to use it, you will now be using classes instead of using these images and other things. So let's see if we can get email. Email somewhere. Here's an envelope. Okay, they normally use the envelope for email, so we have here this will now be this a plus, so we have this one here, and then we don't need this. So we will have this. This envelope. Stop the amount here. So we will have class sensitive, so we can add the out here. So that is the whole concept I want to talk about. One, you will have to download, just like we downloaded the Bootstrap. Then you have to make use of the font and then the CSS in them. If you look at the folder we imported, there are a whole lot of nonsense in it, but together they work to achieve a common purpose. These are some of the fonts that you can use. Did I say print? No, I want to install. They're just like any other font you'll be using, but you have these ones on your site, so browsers will be, these are some other things also, like treated as SVG. A whole lot for the font, awesome. A whole lot in them. So what I'm interested in is how to download what it is. They are just images and like font icons that you can use on your site. So a lot of the things, instead of you downloading image and then using, you can use this font to do. That is one. And then the second thing I want us to get is how to download it is from their site. If you go to Font Awesome, you might not need a start, just the home page. You should be able to. Okay, the start will bring you here. So that is the whole thing. And then you download, you extract. After extracting, you rename the folder to whatever name you want, and then you put that folder in your the web development folder that you are working with. And then you just go to your index and then you reference it, or whichever page you want to use those one. If like it's your service pages, so you want to display things like this, let's see, things like this, you can use it to do that. So that is it for today, or like for Font Awesome. I'll put it on YouTube, and anything you don't understand, just comment. Right away I'll do my best to reply. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.